We was on plane. We took a picture in front of the window. We watched around the UK. It was very green and very beautiful country, much different than Afghanistan. After that, we was discussed because many things in our head from Afghanistan.
After the chaos of the evacuations from Kabul in August 2021, thousands of Afghan refugees on resettlement schemes headed to the UK, bound for safety but still processing what had happened. My team reported and witnessed the scenes of desperation at the airport. People crushed to death trying to get to sanctuary, others swarming over the runways as planes took off, some clinging to the fuselage of transporter planes. We watched as thousands stood knee-deep in a canal filled with sewage, hoping to be seen, heard and allowed onto a flight. Many of those feared for their lives as Western forces withdrew from the country and the Taliban seized control. With nothing more than hand luggage, those who did make it on board flights still had no idea what lay ahead or even where they might end up. I'm Stuart Ramsey, and in this second episode of the Sky News podcast Out of Afghanistan, we'll hear what happened next to the people who arrived here in Britain and ask how many that are entitled to come may still be in Afghanistan. Afzal used to work with the British military in Afghanistan and is resettling in Britain with his family. This has been a traumatic journey for them. His wife was pregnant and they had 3 children under the age of 8 when they battled through Kabul airport. At one point his daughter was abducted in the chaos. They've now landed safely in the Midlands, but with few possessions.
The British people, they told us with warm welcome. They gave us some food, some clothes on Birmingham airport.
But they arrived while COVID was still rampant. So, put in a quarantine hotel, they had no idea what the rules were or how to go outside.
I know understand about we have a break and we can go out. After 11 days, some of my friends, he called me, Afzal, every day we go out and come out. You can ask the security guys and they will organize for you. And for the other 9 days, I went out for 20 minutes every day with my children and just we walk around. There was a small garden.
Life here is completely different, especially the food.
There was prepared some burger, meat, rice, different food, but my wife and my children, they no eat that. I was work with the UK guys and I understand about their UK food. And it was very good for me. But my family, during that 19 days, just they eat the chips and some biscuits, nothing more.
After quarantine, there was a new hotel in an unknown place.
We sat on the taxi and we don't understand where we go. Just I checked the Google map to where we go, and the taxi brought us direct to the Bristol city. I never heard about Bristol before when I came to here. Just I heard about some city about the UK because I like football. In Afghanistan, I watch the Premier League, also the Champions League. I was know about the Liverpool, Manchester, Arsenal, Chelsea.
6-0 Chelsea.
But I never heard about the Bristol city. Yeah, and right now I know the Bristol city have a football team, and I went one time.
The Home Office has put Afghan refugees in bridging hotels while they find them more permanent accommodation, which could be in any of 300 local authorities in the country. In this episode, we're joining Afzal and others in Bristol, where some of the refugees have agreed to share their experience. 2 large hotels here have become home to hundreds of refugees, mostly families. In one, 2 whole floors have been set aside for them. The Afghans are now effectively living in a community. Doors are kept open and children play in the corridors. Having escaped Afghanistan, Sherbano has now been reunited with her husband Yusef in Britain. Family showed us where they're staying.
It's about 20 families here, all from Afghanistan, yeah. We have to use our card to go to the door. So it's a bit messed up, the room. We have a little fridge here. This is our coffee stuff. We make our tea here. This is our kettle.
Yeah, we are living 3 people here. My daughter, 9 years old, and me and my husband. And for my daughter, we have a sofa bed, and for us, we have a double bed and also a table and TV. One chair extra.
That's my daughter's keyboard.
We made a lot of friends here, and we sit in one room like we call each other. We just speak and talking, and also sometimes we play. Yeah, solve problem, and they receive a letter or email something I see, and I translate for them and telling them what's the to do next. And also sometimes we play Ludo because we don't have to do anything that much.
With me, I play another instrument. It's called rubab. I brought this from Afghanistan, and this is my only friend. It's all wooden, and it's about 45 years old. It have 3 main strings, which is these 3 main strings, and then it's just like other music instrument, but you have to play it with both hands as a guitar. And guitar also we have fingers on the bands. The main thing in home is for me is cooking. So I be cooking lots of stuff and do other work at home, cleaning and stuff. And here you don't do anything, you get lazy all day, and especially if you don't work. If you work, it's fine.
They clean twice a week our room, and they change everything, and they clean the toilet. That's why we get lazy here. Yeah.
It's 3 months, 4 months now.
Nearly 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah, because we came here on 15th of September.
We're comfortable. We get hot meal here. It's fine. Everything is okay. The stuff, everything. But it's not a home. It feel like you are a guest somewhere. This is okay, but it's not home. It's just a room.
After 6 months with 3 people living in one room, some good news.
On 7th of March we will move. Because we got 3-bedroom flat. Yeah, from Bristol City Council, finally.
And we accept it on straight away. We haven't said anything. Normally they give you a chance to refuse it, to wait for another one. But we say, no, we need a flat as soon as possible. We want to get out from here.
Hello, salam.
Hello, salam.
At the other hotel, Afzal and his family are still waiting on news of a possible house. But a lot has changed since they arrived.
At the first, when we came to UK, I had 3 children and my wife was pregnant.
Afzal's heavily pregnant wife has been due to give birth. They're now safe in Britain, but dealing with the imminent arrival of a new baby far from home and far from all their relatives is stressful.
I was worried about many things, and all the times I thinking about what's happening next. Everything is changed. And no one in here, and all the times my wife was cried when she speak with her mom and her sisters in Afghanistan, and she say what I do in here because I'm alone. My wife had some pain in the hotel, When we moved from hotel to hospital, I was been with my wife in the room up to my daughter born. I took my hand, my wife's hand, and the doctor was busy with my wife. When she born, the doctor put my daughter to the accommodation unit. Yeah, and I went to her and I saw my daughter. I feel very calm and I was happy. Yeah, she was very beautiful. I love my daughter.
They're now a family of 6. They were given a second room in the hotel, but after almost a year have now moved into a home of their own. Sky's Lisa Holland has been looking at the number of people still in hotels. Lisa, what have you found out?
Well, after the relief, which you witnessed, Stuart, for a lot of people comes the reality. In fact, the Home Office have told us that as of mid-July, so almost a year on, some 9,500 Afghans are still in hotels waiting for permanent accommodation. And that comes at a cost of about £1 million a day. Now, the majority of people were evacuated on Operation Pitting. We know that some 4,000 people arrived after that. But essentially that means 12 long months for an awful lot of people just becoming really quite frustrated in those hotels.
I suppose the real question here is about, it's not just the numbers of people, it's the lack of housing. There's a national housing shortage for people who are British citizens already, let alone people coming from countries like Afghanistan.
Yeah, that's really absolutely at the heart of it. Although it's a sort of complex issue because we know things are kind of being made worse by the fact that some of the hotels want to sort of take their rooms back. The bottom line is there is this shortage of accommodation. It's also more difficult because as far as the Afghans are concerned, they've already gone through enormous upheaval, so they don't just suddenly want to go and be relocated to an area where they perhaps don't feel they are going to be able to settle in as easily as they may have hoped. We did ask Priti Patel, the Home Secretary, to be interviewed on this, and she declined. In a statement, the Home Office said the housing of Afghan individuals and families can be a complex process, and we're supporting people with many different needs. We're working with over 300 local authorities across the UK to meet the demand for housing and have moved or are in the process of moving more than 7,000 people into homes since June 2021.
So how are some local authorities trying to source accommodation? Anne James is the commissioning manager for refugees at Bristol City Council.
The government funds the resettlement schemes. It isn't something that's funded from local taxation. It's funded centrally from the Home Office. In Bristol, there's a really difficult private rented market. We knew that social housing isn't an option for refugees because we have about 17,000 people on the waiting list. So we had to look into the private rented sector.
We've all been concerned at the desperate situation unfolding in Afghanistan, and we must do all we can to thank them for the support and the commitment they have shown to the UK. But to do this, we need landlords to offer us properties so we can...
So for our scheme, we came up with a support package for landlords so that they would feel that the risk they take in offering a tenancy to a newly arrived resettled refugee is manageable. If the landlord can offer us a rental property which is of good quality at a rent which is at a local housing allowance level, which is set by government, and it's the amount that will be paid for rent from benefits from universal credit, then their work as a landlord can be minimised because we do the work. So we find the tenant, we furnish the property, we clean it all up and we get it ready. It's a package which enables the landlord to receive less money each month, but it's an easy life.
The sudden fall of Kabul and emergency evacuations meant many more people were coming to Bristol than previously expected. And the council was asked to help in wraparound care, bespoke support to help familiarise refugees with their local area.
Everything was changing very quickly, and I went to my team to say, can somebody help me to support round about, I think it was 250 Afghan people who'd arrived as family units into the 2 Bristol hotels. We knew that the most important thing was relationship. So people needed to feel that there was somebody in the UK who was looking out for them. Like, it's okay, we've got you. We're going to walk alongside you. You know, we're going to support you in your new life. So myself and a team of nurses and interpreters, we sat down in the hotels and we met each of the families and we said, how are you? Do you have any medical issues? Do you have any needs? Are you pregnant? How old are the children? So that we could look at schools. We spoke to the hotel management around appropriate food, and there was also somebody from the Home Office was allocated, and the Home Office also organised for the local DWP, the job centre, to also come in and help with doing all the benefit claims. On a Monday, we would always offer a drop-in, and we would answer every question that people wanted. So for all the refugees who are referred to us on a resettlement scheme, so they're all referred to us through the government, then they arrive with immigration status, as the right to health, the right to education, the right to work, and the right to receive welfare benefits. So across all of the schemes, then we will support people to register with a GP, we will support people to claim universal credit and child benefit if relevant, we will support people to register the children into schools, we will support the adults to register into English classes, we will show them where the local shops are, and we show people how to use transport. We also offer people bus passes for 2 months so that they're able to get around the city.
And with the right to work, some local employers have been visiting the hotels and job fairs to advertise opportunities to the refugees. Many are becoming restless at the hotel and are keen to find employment. Some have come from high-powered jobs, while others didn't have a formal education but have practical skills. Some have excellent English, others don't have any, though language classes are being offered as part of resettlement.
She said, just put me in like a kitchen. I have experience in the kitchen.
My name's Steve Croom. I'm the registered care home manager at Saffron Gardens, working for Brunel Care. We've come to a hotel today. We're working with a charity to help get Afghan refugees who are looking to settle in Bristol into work. There's no big need for experience. We have roles in care. I manage a care for people living with dementia. We also have support roles such as housekeeping and kitchen assistant, laundry assistant, more task-based and less English needed. We can show and they can learn by doing. There needs to be a reasonable level of English so they can communicate with the residents. It is, after all, working in their home. They've been through a lot. We need to help them establish some sense of normality, give them some worth, give them a feeling that they're being accepted and they're moving forward with their lives. It's something that we'd all want in the same situation. So trying to make things as normal as possible for people.
Afzal told us he was proud but also relieved when he landed a job at the port.
They told me, when you want to start job? I told them, from today, but it is good for me because every morning I wake up about 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, and it was my habit. Lazy, day by day, I be lazy in hotel, and all the day I was not very good, not feel very good.
No worries, all right, I'll speak to the chief.
But jobs also let them earn an income, work with new people and learn new skills.
They import and export the new cars by merchant ship. I am a driver. I drive the car from ship to the car park and from car park to the ship. And there's a lot of different new car. And right now I understand about all the vehicles you see in Bristol. I can drive all of them. If I apply for the British license, because I have an Afghani international license, it's very easy for me.
Sherbano is running a sewing class for some of the Afghan women at a community centre. She says that many of these women are uneducated. They bring their children along to these classes. A prayer mat in the corner allows them to observe their religious practices.
Last class was for just measurement, to take measurement of the body, and now I'm trying to show them how to put the measurement on the paper or fabric and cut it, and they will learn it. They are trying to learn it and start their own businesses or something at home. Yeah, and also if they don't start business, they can do for themselves. They can make clothes because it's very expensive in UK.
This isn't new to Sherbano. Back in Afghanistan, she also dedicated her time to training women and girls to better their lives.
I started from my own house, I just made one room, like on the terrace. We had a very big room. And I put machines, everything, and I called just near to my house the people who were poor people, and the girls, they come. The stuff related to sewing, I would buy for them, and then they come to learn it. And if some people, they have machine, very old machine, and they couldn't use it, and I take it and fix it by the mechanic and bring it to one girl or lady to give it to them. It was very important. Normally in Afghanistan, the woman can't do outside work like start a shop. If you go to Afghanistan, you will never see a lady in the shop to selling something. I was trying to teach them my skill, and they could do their business from home. It is not a beginner class. It is made to measure. They know how to stitch and a little bit cutting, but they are saying we don't know professionally to take the measurement of someone.
It's moving day. Yusef, Sherbano, their daughter and nephew are moving into a new 3-bedroom flat a couple of miles away from the hotel in Bristol. Back in Afghanistan, they also had an apartment, but in a block with extended family.
In Afghanistan, all homes is 2 like buildings. Yeah, like flats. But we get the whole building, and we have 4 floors to live. On first floor, I have my cousin in there. The second floor was my father's uncle, and the third floor was my uncles, the old uncles. They live together, and the top of floor is ours. We have pigeons on our roof. Yeah, we keep them, and they live with us. We fly them, then they go around of our home like this.
It's right at the very top. Malalai's carrying the stuff upstairs.
Their new flat in Bristol is split over 2 floors, with a kitchen, diner and lounge all in one room, 2 bedrooms upstairs, 1 downstairs, and a bathroom on each level. It's off a main road with lots of grocery shops and other stores. It's also close to the city centre.
This is the toilet, yeah? And what about this one? Yeah, there's a small storage.
The sitting room is a bit smaller than we expect.
It was looking in the photo very big room.
Yeah, the photos.
I'm Kevin, I'm your housing officer.
Okay.
I'm going to start off just by showing you a few things around the house, just how all the appliances work and everything. I'll take you around the bedrooms and just show you around. And then I've got the sign-up pack I need to go through, so it's all the legal documents and everything that we need to give you. I'm going to need a signature from the tenants, yourself, your wife, and then pretty much good to go.
And this is our daughter room, Malalai.
Wow!
One way.
Yeah, nice cupboard.
I'm so happy. Pink colour.
So I'm Dana Cohen, and I'm a senior support worker with the refugee resettlement team. I currently work with 8 Afghan families, so they're my 9th. From their normal background, I get a lot of feedback from them that they never use the sofas because they prefer to have cushions on the floor and all sit around on the floor. I think they're used to much bigger rooms as well, because as you know, British houses tend to have quite a lot of small rooms. I think they're used to flats as well rather than houses. So the garden, it's not something that they desire. So it's quite helpful in Bristol because a lot of the things being built are apartments. So
very good. We are happy, and it means a lot for us.
There are two main resettlement schemes for Afghans coming to the UK. 10,000 have come so far under the Afghan Relocations and Assistance Policy, ARAP, open to people who worked for the British government in Afghanistan and their families. 6,500 have been brought to the UK under the Afghan Citizens Resettlement Scheme, the ACRS, for those who are vulnerable and at risk, including women's rights activists, journalists, prosecutors and members of the LGBTQ community. It will be open to up to 20,000 people over the next few years. But while things are moving forward for many of the refugees who've arrived, most can't help but think of life back home in Afghanistan, with an uncertain future, and those friends and loved ones who didn't get away. Afzal's wider family were against the Taliban, and that is potentially very, very dangerous. He thinks they should qualify for the ACRS, but he says they're still unsure how to apply, and each day is a risk for them.
My brothers, my sister, my nephew, my cousin, all of our family, they are stuck in Afghanistan. Just one of my brother, he escaped. Our people was a member of previous government. We fought against the Taliban in Afghanistan, and the Taliban won the war, and we lost the war. If your enemy won, what's happened? Two of my brothers, they wasn't member of National Army in Afghanistan, and still they're stuck in Afghanistan and they can't go out anywhere.
He says they're in hiding and live in fear of being caught.
If they arrest them, they take them to somewhere, and we don't know what they do with them. There are some people, previous soldiers and previous officers, if they not surrender to the Taliban, they move to our place and they climb up to the mountain, and still they fight against the Taliban.
Communication is unreliable and limited. It means Afzal is constantly worrying.
With one of my brother, maybe during 1 month, I know speak yet. Just 2 or 3 times I received a sound in here. The internet is not very good, not good quality in Afghanistan. We don't know what's happening next, but I'm worried about my brothers in Afghanistan. Hopefully, something's happen in Afghanistan. Some things. We hope some change in Afghanistan.
Back in August, the government conceded that not everyone who had a right to come to the UK was put on a flight. Our communities correspondent Lisa Holland is back. What have you been able to find out about how things stand now?
Yeah, still a lot of work to do. It was very vivid, wasn't it, back in the day, back last August, when the evacuations were taking place, and the UK's Defence Secretary Ben Wallace spoke quite emotionally when he acknowledged on LBC that there would not be time to fly out all of those who were eligible before the withdrawal deadline.
It's a really deep part of regret for me. Some people won't get back. Some people won't get back, and we will have to do our best in third countries to process those people.
Information that's been given to us suggests that there are around 750 people who are eligible, confirmed, have been accepted as of early July onto the ARAP scheme, and it's thought that most of them are still in Afghanistan. It's not entirely easy to maintain communications with everybody in Afghanistan. In addition to that, there are some 8,000 people who could also still be eligible as well. So these are people who haven't yet come forward, or may have come forward and applied but haven't been properly processed yet. In a statement, the Ministry of Defence said, "We continue to do all we can to secure safe passage and enable British nationals and eligible Afghans to leave the country. Conditions in Afghanistan can prevent easy freedom of movement for some eligible Afghans. We're pursuing a range of options to help them to reach safety."
But the situation in the country is becoming more desperate, not only from the Taliban regime, but the failing economy, which means many are without jobs, money and food, which may cause more to flee to other countries. While we've been hearing about the level of support for those on resettlement schemes, this is not the same for asylum seekers from Afghanistan, who are already in the UK awaiting a decision or who may be arriving even now. Jenny Phillimore, Professor of Migration and Superdiversity at the University of Birmingham, says that those who come to the UK without an approved application stand to be treated more harshly.
We have a bifurcated system in the UK, and it's evident that the government are ever moving more towards the resettlement model, which is unfortunate because it absolutely does not meet all needs. But those who arrive under a resettlement package, money is allocated to the local authority that takes them, and then that local authority will use that money to help identify housing, get kids into education, provide caseworkers and so on. Whereas Afghans who, albeit may also have worked for the British government or may have been in very vulnerable positions, if they arrive spontaneously because they were unable to be resettled, we know that the capacity for resettlement was very low, then unfortunately those individuals will be treated completely differently. So they will have to go through an asylum determination process. They may end up living in a hotel or barracks, or maybe even detained if they're considered to be a flight risk. They'll have to demonstrate in a process that can take many years that they have a legitimate claim for being a refugee.
The difficulty for those who are left in Afghanistan is trying to kind of weigh up, do I wait? Do I try to come through the official channels, which is stringently what the UK government says they must do, or do I sort of try to chance my arm and come by other means, potentially a sort of illegal boat crossing across the channel? The Home Office has made it very clear that anyone arriving in the UK without being accepted on a resettlement scheme would be treated as an asylum seeker. Asylum seekers are given a place to live, and their children have the opportunity to attend school. They're given an allowance of about £40 a week, but they don't have the right to work. So I think in terms of the kind of wide picture, it's been a long year, but even those who have come on those resettlement schemes, some of those are not happy. And from the perspective of the Home Office, it's an enormous thing to try and bring people from Afghanistan, as far as the MOD is concerned, or from the Home Office to resettle people. Even after this lengthy period of time, it's a very, very tricky issue to solve.
Obviously, the speed of the Taliban takeover was remarkable, and the need to get people out of the country in such a short period of time was unexpected. However, it also seems clear that there was an underestimate on the numbers who could qualify. And of course, the whole process continues. On the next episode of Out of Afghanistan, we ask about integration for the resettled refugees. How easy is it to adjust to life in Britain? And why is it harder for some than others? How easy is it to make friends in a new country? Out of Afghanistan was presented by me, Stuart Ramsey. It was produced by Anne-Marie Bullock. Sound design by Will Chalk, and Paul Stanworth is the editor.